Fáilte Ash hike in nationwide, and welcome back to Peters Lake here in Monaghan town. Now all this week on Nationwide we have scéalta stories from Monaghan County about people living and working here. Our next story is of a tailor, but no ordinary suit maker. Rory Duffy has been creating high-end suits in London and New York for years, but has now brought his creative talent home to rural Monaghan. Colm Flynn went to meet Rory in Kilnaclay.
Most of my clients would have been either millionaires or billionaires. Mostly CEOs, CFOs, presidents. Whenever a person comes to you to have a suit made, the first thing you must establish is where they got their last suit and why they didn't go back to that person or that company. I mean, just getting into the White House was a mission. Trying to find the door, find the gate into the White House. There's so many gates, and you go to one gate and they go, no, it's not this gate, it's the other gate. You get that, no, it's not this gate, it's the other gate. We've all grown up with this idea it's a dying art, but yet it isn't dead yet.
It's not really the place you'd associate with high fashion. But in the rural townland of Kilnaclay, 10 minutes outside of Monaghan, lives internationally renowned tailor Rory Duffy. Working from the small workshop on the farm, this is where Rory feels most at home. And when you were a young lad growing up and in school, what were you interested in, or what did you want to be when you were older?
I always enjoyed the farming and that, being out and around and in amongst the animals and that. You know, I started driving a tractor at 16, and that's how I learned how to drive. So as you imagine, I'm a very slow driver.
Tailoring had been in the family. Rory's grandfather and great-grandfather had both been tailors.
And I was aware that my grandfather was a tailor. He would have cut everything himself, cut all his patterns, made all the clothing in-house. And he was also the postmaster.
Rory's grandfather, as well as being a tailor and a postmaster, was also a member of the old IRA.
We do know that he was involved in the revolution, and he did fight as part of the pro-treaty side during the Civil War. We have a photograph of him in his uniform, and he most likely made it himself, as it was done at that time.
So he was both a member of the IRA and a tailor at the same time?
Yeah, he would have been, well, he was 20 in 1916, and he started his training as a tailor when he was about 15 or 16. So at the end of the war, he just went into the tailoring full time and as a postmaster.
Growing up, Rory himself always had his own sense of style and way of dressing.
My father was a very well-dressed man, and he had his own sense of style, and as I grew up I had my own sense of style. So whenever I was into my teen years, when we started going out, I'd wear a suit when I go out. I wasn't necessarily trying to be any different or trying to stand out in any way. And like even now, like I dress like this around the house.
It was after studying industrial design in Letterkenny, Rory decided he wanted to become a tailor. So he took up an apprenticeship in Sligo and got to work.
I was recommended to Joseph Martin in Sligo, and that's where I ended up taking my first apprenticeship. There was just so much to it, you know, there was so many different stages, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed the work.
After 3 years, Rory emigrated and headed for London, and he interned at the prestigious Henry Poole's on Savile Row.
Every corner that you turned, you met a master of some craft that, you know, if you asked and you showed an interest, like, people would tell you whatever you wanted to know. I mean, everybody strove for perfection, and I was no different. I was hardworking, and you know, I wanted to do the best that I could. And
then in 2009, 27-year-old Rory was to get a huge boost in his career when he won a competition called the Golden Shears, one of the most prestigious in the industry. Winning the Golden Shears, did that open up many doors for you?
It did. Yeah, it was. We were having a really great time for the company. It was '09, you know, the recession had just hit, you know, orders were starting to dry up, and then suddenly there was this influx of media attention.
With a taste for success, Rory headed for New York City, where he made suits in Manhattan.
I emigrated to New York. I started a business. Yeah.
And who were your clients? Who were you making suits for?
Mostly CEOs, CFOs, presidents. Most of my clients would have been either millionaires or billionaires. I specialised in disproportionate figures, so I made for big men.
What was the most expensive suit you ever sold?
It was $10,000.
$10,000 for the suit.
$10,000, yeah.
Rory dealt with top executives from Citibank, MTV and other huge companies. But even though he was dealing with people at the top of their game, Rory wanted the right kind of customers.
I mean, you get guys that would ring you up and it was sort of like, how much is your suit? Like, rather than like, no, hello, it's just Rory Duffy, anything like that. Just, how much is your suit? You're like, sorry, I'm too busy, and just hang up the phone. So if they're like that, if they're that abrasive, you know, from the beginning, it's not going to be worth your while.
You don't want to do business with them.
I don't want to do business with that guy.
And did you enjoy it? Did you like your time in New York City?
I mean, when you're young and full of energy, you know, it's all quite exciting at the time, but eventually you start to run out of steam, and you got to decide what is the, why am I doing this? What is the quality? What's quality of life am I actually getting from? Yes, I'm earning a lot of money, but I don't really have the time to spend it or invest it or enjoy it.
Rory always had a dream of starting his own tailoring school, but he wasn't able to make the leap until he got some words of encouragement while at a fashion event at the White House from Michelle Obama.
Yeah, so in 2014 I was invited to the White House to take part in a fashion luncheon. It was an initiative of Michelle Obama's to introduce students from disadvantaged backgrounds to industry professionals. And when I was there, I actually got the opportunity to meet Michelle Obama, and, you know, I was telling her about what I'd been doing, you know, in the industry and, you know, with teaching and that. And I mentioned that I always wanted to start my own school, and she was like, well, you should do that. I mean, like, this is what this luncheon is all about, is to tell people to follow their dreams, and if you know, if it's something you really want to do, you'll make it happen.
Now, Rory runs this tailoring school from his home here in Monaghan. Before the pandemic, students were coming in person for training and mentoring. But now, Rory runs a YouTube page where he has online courses with tailoring students, and those interested in trying it out subscribe from all over the world. Rory, you've had such an illustrious and prestigious career so far, a very varied career. We're sitting here in your school just outside Monaghan. What are your dreams and hopes for the future?
My hope for the future is that no matter what garment that you want to make, I'll have a video series explaining the process. You know, we're covering the base at the minute. We have done the making of a Savile coat, men's bespoke trouser making. We're working on the men's waistcoat and the ladies' jacket. But I'd like to have, you know, evening tailcoat, morning coat, tuxedo, you know, any garment, any tailor-made garment that you can conceive of, we'd have a video for it.
Rory's courses are online, but he hopes to have students back in his workshop in Monaghan very soon. So check out Rory's website for courses and suits.